I just became certified to use a new assessment. I'd like to share that assessment in today's video and talk about the ways that it might affect my coaching with clients. Well, now the cat's out of the bag as to which assessment I've recently become certified to implement with my clients. It's the 6 types of working genius, which is the latest assessment and creation by Patrick Lencioni's company, The Table Group. They've worked a long time on this assessment, have tested it out with lots of people, and now hundreds of thousands have taken the assessment. I recently became certified because I listened to the audiobook. I spoke to some other coaches that have used the assessment with teams. I've had my own team take the assessment, and I came to see the value in how it might apply to coaching engagements, and I decided to invest in the certification program. So this is the cover, and you can see my name on it. I'll be sharing my own report with you and talking about how this assessment might be useful in a coaching engagement. So first, a little explanation of what are the 6 types of working genius. Let me make it a little larger here because it's important that you see the 6 types. So they spell the word widget, and there are 6 types with the 6 letters, W being wonder. And you can see the description of wonder as identifying the need for improvement or change. And then there's invention. Invention is confirms the importance of that need and generates an idea or solution. So you can see how I builds off of W. And then D continues to build off of the original wonderment. Discernment assesses the merit and workability of the idea or solution. And then G, galvanizing, generates enthusiasm and action around the idea or solution. So it continues to build. And now we go to E, enablement, initiates support and assists in the implementation of the idea or solution. And then T is tenacity, and you might imagine what that is, gets the idea or solution to the finish line, right? And specifically it says, commits to ensuring that the idea or solution gets completed and that desired results are achieved. What else is important beyond the letters to understand is that these letters fall into groupings. The top 3, W, D, E, are considered to be responsive types, whereas the I, G, T are considered to be disruptive types. Disruptive is they do something, right? They take action and they disrupt the status quo, whereas responsive responds to actions that are taken by some other person. So you can start to understand how this might be helpful with a client. Do their geniuses fall in the disruptive area or the responsive area? That can be interesting. They're also grouped into 3 sections. The WI is the ideating stage, right? It's the ideating stage. And then the DG is the stage where it actually takes it from ideating into the next phase of work, which is to, okay, now let's think through how can we actually do this and can we get people excited about it? And then the ET is let's get it done. Now that we have ideated, we've thought about how this can be practically applied, gotten people excited about it, now let's get it done by supporting people to have the tools and the skills necessary, the bandwidth to get it finished and to achieve the results desired. Right? So there are 3 stages of work. There's 2 types of personalities, so to speak, the disruptive and responsive, and then there are the 6 types. Now, when you take the assessment, you're going to see the 6 letters fall into 3 groups of 2. 2 being your working geniuses, 2 being your working competencies, and 2 being your working frustrations. Let's take a look at the next page and see how I land here. So you can see that my 2 areas of working genius are galvanizing and invention. And you remember that galvanizing is getting people excited about an idea, rallying them around it, and then invention is coming up with the idea. It's not so much wondering as then taking the questions about a need or solution and turning them into some sort of idea. Right? It says you're naturally gifted at and derive energy and joy from creating original and novel ideas and solutions. I can absolutely agree with that. There is no doubt about it that that's right on the money for me. The G is interesting in that I had to think about it a little bit to agree with that. But I have to say, I do derive energy and joy from rallying people and inspiring them to take action around ideas, projects, or tasks, whether it is my team or it is people that I'm trying to get excited about joining a program that I'm selling, such as my executive coach training and certification program as a member of the faculty of the Center for Executive Coaching, or selling my online sales training course that I created last year, or simply selling coaching with me. I am always excited about getting people to feel committed to going forward with me on something that I am selling to them. So I agree with my 2 areas of working genius. And what's important to understand is that they bring joy and fulfillment when I do work in those areas. Below that, my 2 areas of working competency, where I'm generally neutral, are wonder and enablement. What's important to understand is that clients can generally do this, but if they do it too much, then it might actually lead to a feeling of burnout by doing the W and the E too much. So it's important to understand that these competencies your client might be good at, but that doesn't mean that it brings them joy and fulfillment. It's the working genius areas that do that. So they should be doing more of that kind of work. And then the 2 down at the bottom, the working frustration, well, for me, it's tenacity and discernment. While I have learned to overcome my tendency to not finish things, I have to recognize that it's there. I have had issues with finishing things earlier in my life, but I've come to realize that this is really a critical area that leads to long-term success, finishing things. So while it may be a working frustration, I've learned to overcome it and I can finish things. D is discernment. I need someone else to help me with the discernment because I come up with the ideas, but they're not always practical. They're not always workable or actionable. So I need someone with discernment, and I do have that on my team. So there's another application here of this content is once we determine what geniuses our client has, we then look at the team that they lead or work on. How does the team lay out on a team map? Where are their areas of strength? Where are their areas of imbalance where they may not have enough people that have genius in certain areas, or they may have an absence of people that have genius in certain areas, or they may have people that have too many frustrations in an area that's important to the team and has hindered the success of the team in the past. So you can see that this can be applied to an individual by helping them to understand why do they feel drained by certain types of work, and how might they adapt their role to focus more on areas that bring them joy and fulfillment, and then broadening it out to the team that they lead and manage or the team that they're on. How can we perhaps adjust roles on the team, understand why the team might be unable to have strengths in certain areas? Maybe the team is too disruptive or too responsive. Maybe the team actually needs to bring in someone new that has a certain gift of certain geniuses that the team is lacking. So there are lots of applications of this material, and I just scratched the surface. I'll touch on other aspects in future videos, but I just wanted to introduce the idea of this assessment. In case you're interested, it's actually quite reasonable. You can purchase it directly from the table group for just $25. That's right, it's just $25 to buy it directly from the table group and take it for yourself if you're curious about how it might work for you. If you'd like to work with me going through your working genius assessment, of course, I'd be more than happy to talk with you about that. Just email me at michael@BAECexecutivecoach.com. And if you would like to learn more about becoming certified, well, you can find that out through the table group as well. There's no benefit to me of referring you to them. But what I can say is that I really enjoyed the certification program. I am excited about using this assessment, and I've already started working with a team using this material. So that tells you something right there. So that's a brief look at the 6 types of working genius and some considerations of how it might be used in a coaching situation. If you'd like to learn more about my use of it, feel free to email me at michael@BAECexecutivecoach.com. If you'd like to learn more about becoming certified or just taking the assessment, just visit the table group online and you'll be able to do that. And of course, if you'd like to learn more about my executive coach training and certification programs, as presented through the Center for Executive Coaching, please let me know. I would love to have an online meeting with you to discuss the next program that's coming up in April. People are already signing up, getting excited for the program. I'd love to have you there as well. Thank you very much.